You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning, and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and Episode number 139 of The Daily Beaver, here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Monday, June 12th, 2023, and finally, we've got a bit of rain here at the Beaver Lodge, with a lot more expected. Hopefully, 100% chance of rain later in the day. Right now, that's sort of stopped a little bit. It's just wet on the ground and a little humid, but we're going to get some more, which is nice. We've needed it here. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly, looking very fine, I must say. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We have a pretty special Monday morning bite for you because, we didn't think that the indictment would be unsealed before Tuesday. They decided to let us have it for the weekend, which was, so we'll be talking a little bit about that and a couple of other things, because my word, there's been a lot of news. We could have done a weekend show. Like once.
Yeah, we could have. There was so much stuff going on. We absolutely could have. But
but before we do anything, first of all, thank you to the kids for being patient. Nature called. Let's put it that way. And before we continue, we have to say good morning to our dear friend Mr. Grizzly and ask you, how's your mental health today? And please tell us more about that wonderful, wonderful stash you are sporting.
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. Mental health, the jury's out on that one. I had a really strange, bizarre, vivid dream that interrupted my sleep, to say the least. So I'm a little off this morning. As for the, I'm going for the early 1900s strongman mustache. You know, it's like the circus strongman, or a pugilist, like the boxer. You know, back in my day, we didn't have cough syrup. We drank whiskey, and that was good enough for us. Gosh darn it. I don't know. I can't look at myself in camera because it's like I just burst out laughing every time I see this ridiculous mustache. But it's all for a good cause. And for the remainder of this week, it will be coming off Friday morning, and we'll probably do it on the air because
What up?
I want it gone. But I committed to wearing this mustache for a week because I had a single donor for the Cornerstone Housing for Women who donated $500 for me to sport this for a full week. So I'm going to honor that. And he's like, no, you can shave it off. I'm like, no, man, I said I'd do it. You donated the $500. That's a lot of money to
Right.
donate. So I'm going to follow through. He's like, you are a man of your word. Well, yeah, my word is my bond.
Well, I
So
mean, if you
here we
weren't,
are.
the next time you want to do something like that, who would donate?
Well, this is the thing, right? It's like if you commit to something, follow through on it. So I had 5 different beard and mustache styles last week, and today I'm going with the curly strongman stash. I might go back to a Salvador Dali pointy thing tomorrow, or regimental sergeant major style, I believe is what they call it. So we'll see. I'll play with it this week, and by Friday morning, it will be coming off, and I am going to be grateful to have it gone because I cannot take myself seriously. I'm like, I just look in the camera and I just laugh. I'm like, oh my god, I look ridiculous,
But you
but
know what?
ridiculous for a
You
good
wear that
cause.
one quite well, actually. I have to say.
Well, it's the bald head. If I had a full head of hair, it wouldn't be as
Probably.
effective. This way, I look like literally the circus strongman. It's like or a wrestler from the
Yep, yep.
'80s, a Quebecois wrestler
Yeah,
from
I
the
would say
'80s.
that all you're missing is the singlet.
Yeah, yeah. I think I have one too.
Oh, man. Well, good morning, Kit Linda, Kit Elaine, Kit Ellen. Lovely to see you. Kit Sadeka, Kit the Daily Beaver. Nice to see you. It's been a while, I believe. Kit Jen, lovely to see you too. Kit Tabby G, thank you for joining us. Kit Mike H, hello. I'm not sure I recognize that name, so if you're relatively new, welcome to the Beaver Lodge. Thank you for joining us. We're glad that you're here. And let's see, have I missed any? Oh, of course, Toronto Dan. Of course, we got to say hello to you, good sir. All right, I think that's everybody that's here today. Thank you for joining us. As you may notice, there have been some slight renovations at the Beaver Lodge.
Yes.
How did that get here, Mr. Grizzly?
Well, when I came down to Kingston on the weekend to pay you a visit and go see you in that magnificent play that we had a couple of emotional surprises we weren't expecting, I manufactured a mic wrap for you. So we are fully branded now as the True North Eager Beaver. You can see
Woo-hoo.
it at all times. So I can, occasionally when you're the live logo up in the top left or top right, I should say, every now and then it gets right over your
Yep,
forehead and I have to pull it down. Well, we're fully branded now at all times.
there we go. Ah, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. No, oh, Mike is not new, Kid Elaine? Okay, thank you very much. Not new, in and out all
In
the
and out
time.
all the time.
Okay, well, we're glad you're here. That's great. You must not chat a lot, I guess. Oh my word. Oh my word, kids. Wow.
I'm not going to say that. I'll go with it. We'll just
I I think well, let's just say somebody paid Mr. Grizzly a very, very nice compliment.
yeah, we'll leave it at that.
I love
We'll
it.
leave it at that.
Aw. uh 15 beaver points. There you go.
There you go. There
That
you
was
go.
good. That was very good. And if you're listening at home, well, then you're probably just going to have to tune into this one visually. All right. Let's see. Where do you want to start today? Do you want to save the frump stuff for last and stuff?
Yeah, let's save that for last. I have to go into the office for around 9, so we've got about 90 minutes this morning, so we can deal with a few things. But yeah, let's save that for last. Let's get into the whole David Johnston stepping down
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, as the again, unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard that former Governor General, former conservative nominated Governor General,
mhm.
current, well, prior to stepping down. Recently, let's say, Liberal nominated Special Rapporteur David Johnston, I guess had enough. I don't know what else it would be, but yep, said that he's out of here. I'm finding this disturbing because it's becoming a pattern. We got destroyed. The person that was named to be the interim ethics commissioner when Mario Dion stepped down for reasons of ill health. Well, I mean, she didn't get run out of town, but she had the job for a couple of days, and then nope, because even though she had been working for the office since before the time the prime minister became the prime minister, because she happened to be related by marriage to someone who's a cabinet minister, when the ethics office, while she was there, did issue a ruling against him one time. So it's not like they weren't able to sanction him before while she was there. Apparently she wasn't good enough. So didn't take very long. Took just a couple of days, and she said, "That's it. I'm going to go back to my old position. Thank you very much." So I don't know if another interim ethics commissioner has been named. Well, so far, because of them, we are without a charity called We, which some people had some issues with, but they were doing some good.
Oh yeah.
You have,
This is a good
we're running
question by
people out of
PNC
town
Bio.
now.
Yeah. Is Canadian democracy safe now? And that's a very valid question, and I'm beginning to actually wonder
Yeah.
if it is. I sincerely, like, here's something that I just came across my feed. Reminder: the Coots trial begins tomorrow, which would be today. Yes, it begins today. This was from last night, I guess. Watch Pierre Poilievre deflect topics away from this, as he was a deep supporter of the Ottawa convoy. Let's not let him inundate his Twitter feed with reminders, and don't forget to save good posts for later. Yeah, I think we need to remind him how he supported the blockade and the convoy, the occupation of Ottawa. I think we need to let him know that we're not happy about that. And how much deflection is he going to try and use over the next couple of days about the Coots trial? I think it could be very interesting.
Well, he's not going to use deflection. That's not so much his thing. Sorry. As he's going to use counter programming. Pierre, when something's controversial, he simply just doesn't talk about it or doesn't show up.
Yes,
Like
of course.
by election, he knew he was going to win. He just didn't show up in the writing. Manitoba, he has shown up. He was there already. And he's talking about Bernier now and then. So clearly he feels the need to fight it out. So we are going to start getting a preview, which is very nice. He is fighting on two fronts, which is very, very, very nice. Yeah, that Coots thing, he's probably just going to flood the zone with a whole bunch of other stuff and just not talk about it, because that's what happened during the Public Order Emergency Commission inquiry, right? He just said nothing. The whole party said nothing during the whole thing, except on the very final day when the Prime Minister testified. Then they opened their yaps. And then when the report came out, they opened their yaps for 2 days, but then they haven't said anything since. They've been surprisingly quiet about the Rouleau report.
Yeah, interesting.
So, yeah. So we have the Governor General who is stepping down. And here's the thing, right? Yes, his nomination did have a semblance of conflict because he had an association with the Trudeau Foundation. That is true. However, what was also true about this man is that he has served in these types of capacities 2 to 3 dozen times over his career. So he has a track record. If all we knew of him is that he was a governor general once and then worked for the Trudeau Foundation, maybe you would have more of a case if that was
But
taken in
that's
isolation. But even then, all he did was show is that he is capable to work with a prime minister regardless of the color of the stripe of that prime minister. Yeah, I think that would have bolstered the case for his impartiality,
well, yeah.
right? And as we mentioned when we had that Lisa Raitt comment where she was trying to shovel 2 scoops of BS, right? When she was saying,
She's
well,
good at that.
just because he was called upon X number of years ago to do something for Mulroney, like this, it doesn't matter, and it's like, but with Harper, it was the second nomination later on, right?
Mhm.
When he named him as Governor General after he had done such a good job on the Oliphant inquiry. And for some people, good job meant restricting those terms of reference so damn tight that you couldn't find anything. Because that was the main complaint about that inquiry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then it becomes a case of, oh, well, he's your go-to guy when you need him. You call upon David Johnston and he's a model citizen. But as soon as a prime minister of another stripe calls, this is not a sign that he truly is impartial and can work for any prime minister regardless of stripe. It means he's in the bag for the other one. But he was not
Funny
in
how
the
that
bag for you.
works, right? Like how? Huh? Like how? Huh? I'm sorry. Come again? What?
So yes, you do have a semblance. And yes, it probably would have been smarter not to go there. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you needed someone quickly, and you needed someone you thought everybody could agree on. The person that the other party named as the vice regal seems like a good bet,
Oh yeah.
right? But this is not an age of rationality.
No, clearly
This is an
not.
age of I must contradict, I must be contrarian. It doesn't matter how good a point it is, how right it is, how logical, how moral. That's the only thing that's important is to oppose, is to be against, is to maintain the fight. Nothing else matters. You could have the most silver-tongued person ever in human history come along and try to explain this, and it will not work because that avenue does not exist. It's not open. It's completely closed.
Yeah.
It's fight, 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 fight. Own the libs, own the libs, own the libs. Doesn't matter. You could do a physical experiment on their body right in front of them and they would feel it for themselves and they will still deny it happened.
Of course. Because they're so bloody contrarian and just
Well, but it's if you think of it strategically and never let anything distract you from the primary objective, and that's their objective, reason, boom, logic, emotion, being decent, boom, all that doesn't matter, right? So trying to appeal on that sense, it's just not going to work. There's no opening. By design, there's no opening, because if there is an opening, then they would have to agree that there's something wrong. They'd have to change what they're doing, which means they can't reach their objective.
Well, and to address Linda's comment, it reinforces that conservatives are not working for Canada, only for themselves.
Exactly.
The commentary I wish to make on that is we have to remember they identify themselves as conservatives, not Canadians.
Yep.
Right? And case in point, and it's been time and time again that they've done this, but when Zelensky addressed the House of Commons, each party member leader stood up and said, Canadians are here to support you, except for Candace Bergen. Conservatives are here to support you. They don't identify as Canadians. They identify as conservatives.
Yep.
How messed up is that?
Because the identifying as Canadians, the use of patriotism is merely a tool.
Yes.
They're conservatives first and Canadians when useful.
And only then. Only then. They care not one whit about this country or the citizens that live here. They care about power and money. That is all. And I've said it hundreds of times. I will continue to say it because I'm bloody well right. I'm not wrong about this. They've proven it time and time and time and time again, and they will continue to prove it because all they care about is power and money, and they will do whatever and say whatever to gain both. These are not good people.
No,
Not good people at all.
no, not at all. Now so with David Johnston, everything that happened before, yes, you can make it a case. Technically, they are right. And listen, I'm the former PR guy, even though my position, personal position, I've been stating it all along, is that this is ridiculous.
Oh, yes.
If you're going to be super pedantic about it, yes, technically they are correct.
Mm-hmm.
But that's if you don't factor in the entirety of everything we know about this man that
Exactly.
came before.
Exactly.
That's if you just focus on that one detail. He once worked for the Trudeau Foundation. That alone is semblance of conflict. He got to go. Well, that was indeed what was happening
Mm-hmm.
when we showed that clip last week,
Mm-hmm.
where PP was saying, "Oh no, he's a great guy, and you shouldn't let his past associations from that long ago with a previous conservative government mean that." This was like within the same party,
Yes.
right? Mulroney hired him once. Now you're hiring him.
And you see no problem with that.
You see no problem with that. Doesn't that look like, he's your go-to in the bag guy? No, nobody should. This okay, so you deemed him good to appoint him at least twice. And David Johnston was at the head of the Debates Commission.
Mm-hmm.
He was appointed by Trudeau there. I don't remember the Conservatives screaming bloody murder when that happened. When you're the president of the Debates Commission, that's kind of important when it comes to an election.
Yeah.
They didn't make any complaint that he was with the Trudeau Foundation then, and then therefore was in the bag for the Liberals for the next
Of
debate.
course not. Of course not, because they don't need to win the nanosecond. And in that instance, they don't need to win the nanosecond. It's not that important to them.
And it was about like 3 or 4 years ahead, or whenever the next. I'm just. That's what
They'll
I mean.
chew you up and spit you out and throw you away once they no longer have use for you, as
Basically.
evidenced by what they've done to David Johnston. These are not good people.
These are not good people. Because until a couple of weeks ago, they thought he was their guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Loved and respected and admired the man. But as soon as he does something that they find runs afoul of their bizarre ideology, they're going to throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
And they're going to use the full weight of that political party to do so.
Well, that's what they did. They've thrown the full weight of the state at him.
Yeah,
Because they were
completely.
government.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Imagine if they were government.
I don't.
And they
shudder.
literally had the full weight.
Shudder to think
Yes.
what state we would be in as Canadians if that was the case.
And here's the thing about conservatives, because they're always performing.
Oh, yes.
Now that they have chewed them up and spit them out. Aaron O'Toole. David Johnston is an exceptional Canadian. His service to our country has been extraordinary, and I want people to remember that. I will always cherish this memory of our Governor General talking about astronauts with Jack at Rideau Hall. 102. It's so disappointing that the Prime Minister used his stellar reputation as a political shield. It's time to finally call a national inquiry to look at how to best safeguard our democracy from interference.
Oh, Aaron, you started out so well. The first tweet should have been one and done.
Well, not only that, he is the one that went to testify and then wrote that article saying that the Governor General's. So you didn't question his integrity. You disagreed with his assessment. Okay. But while everybody else is doing it, you didn't actually stand up and said, hey, this is a man of integrity then. You're saying that now that he's gone. Well, and that article of yours was an extra shovelful on the pile. It wasn't written to help him.
One of the things I saw this past weekend, and I don't know if you noticed it, was how people were going, oh, I met Justin Trudeau once in the 8th grade. Does that make me am I in his pocket now? Am I his best friend now? Does it, are we ski buddies now? And I saw a ton of tweets like that. And to that, I'll say, well, I met King Charles when he was prince. Does that mean we're best buddies now? I shook his hand and had a conversation with him. I did the same with Princess Diana.
I stood across the street when Queen Elizabeth came to dedicate that statue, I guess, sculpture to Oscar Peterson.
Oh yeah. Just right up the street from
I just saw like the top blue of her hat. But that's
you're part of the royal family now.
That's how I got this.
Yeah, you're part of the royal family now. Whether you realize that or not.
That's how I got it.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Saw her from across the street 2 weeks later. Lizzie sent me this in the mail.
That's how it works, right?
That's how it works, man.
According to the Conservative Party of Canada, if you've ever had an association with anybody, now you're in their back pocket. So, I mean, to that end, I saw Ronald Reagan, so that means I'm tied to the U.S. government now, right?
I've been in the same room as Mandela and Bill Clinton.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Did you get your George Soros check this weekend? Because I'm still waiting on mine.
I don't know. What's the problem with yours? Mine are coming in, no problem.
Damn.
Every
I
week.
must have gave him the wrong address.
No, Georgie's delivering on time for me.
Well, he just handed everything over to his son, so maybe I'll call his son later once we're done the stream. I'll call his son and say, "Where's my check? Get it in the mail." Just email it to me, man. It goes right into my account. We don't even have to do any paperwork. Just right into the account. You can save yourself, what is it, about $1, I think it costs to write a business check. So save yourself the $1, just deposit it right into my account. We'll be good to go.
There you go.
Something tells me that's never, ever, not in a million years is that ever going to happen.
Maybe if you called yourself a Nigerian prince. I mean, with that mustache, they'd buy it, I'm sure.
Sure.
Nigerians wear this mustache all the time. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
That's the ticket.
That's the ticket. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'm from Nigeria. Yeah.
I'm a former Nigerian prince. Yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah.
And I got some cousins that are royalty, and they got a couple positions open for you. Yeah, that's
All you got to do is just send me $1,500 clearing fee, and I'll send you 10 million. Send 10 million quatlus, that is, not dollars. 10 million quatlus, and a quatlu is whatever I want it to be because it's a made-up word.
But it starts with Q. Currency. QURENCY. That's our get rich scheme. We start currency and then just sit back. See, if we were terrible people, we'd probably have somebody on that right now.
Well, I have some oceanfront property in northern Saskatchewan for sale. I'll give you a great price. I promise you. Great vistas. Oh yeah, it's spectacular.
For me, it's primo real estate in the Everglades.
Yes, nothing like some good farmland in the Everglades. Great for growing rice. You just got to worry about some of the local wildlife. It's a little bit of a problem there.
Yep. So, yeah. The thing with David Johnston, though, however, is that objectively there just came to be too many things, and the navigator stuff and the Hendong stuff was too much.
Agreed.
The navigator on its own wasn't a problem, at least for me, given a PR guy. I'm saying, okay, this guy saw who he's dealing with, saw them coming, went to get navigator before any of this all started, and let's just happen, right? Now, navigator does have a reputation of being the people you call when you are in deep doo-doo, so therefore you get the optic of, oh, you hired a navigator, therefore you must be corrupt. That comes with it.
Yes, it does.
Especially
it does
in
come
this
with
type
the
of
territory.
context when they're doing the preemptive framing of Johnston as being in the bag and someone who is, because here's the thing, right? When they're saying shame on the prime minister for using this man, they are also saying shame on this man for being open to being used.
Didn't he get paid though? I think he got paid for that. It was a paid gig. So
Yeah,
are you
but
being used if you're getting paid to do a job?
used his reputation,
I know, I know, I
right?
know. I'm
But
just being
yes, I
pedantic.
know that. But you know what you see where this is going, right? So
Mhm.
with the
Mhm.
navigator stuff, it's the thing that happened that may have not made the broader news is that Han Dong, when everything started happening with him, well, he too hired navigator.
As
So
well
now
as he
you got
should.
navigator doing PR for both someone who is two people who were targets of smears of the same thing, except one of them has a defamation suit
Mhm.
now on the way. Um, Probably not a good idea, and I'm not actually sure why Navigator would not have volunteered to one of the two parties, whoever was signing up second, that they were already doing things with one, and that may not look good.
Yeah, why didn't they? Yeah, they should have informed him of that, right? I mean, shouldn't
It,
that been, you know?
it seems I would have at least asked questions somewhere internally,
Mhm.
like, should we be
Was there a
taking on
possible
both clients at
conflict
the
here?
same time?
Yeah. All they saw were dollar signs.
So, I mean, that one's like, but then it seems that also when he was doing his report, given everything that's been going on with Handong, that there was no actual interview with Handong on the basis that he had an action before the courts,
Right.
of course, which has been, again, at one point, it just becomes one too many things.
Mhm.
Getting at the stage that they could pick that thing and that thing and that thing and that thing, and now you're making the other team dance to the sound, dance to you lighting 1,000 brush fires. Um, so this had to happen.
Yeah. I think it was kind of
This had
inevitable,
to
was it
happen.
not?
Unfortunately, Mr. Johnson maybe still believed we lived in a time politically in which no, my track record of decency should speak for itself. Yeah, it's 2023 doesn't work that way now. Like
No, unfortunately.
we said it on our episode, a few weeks ago, that as soon as the thing came out, it's like, get ready for Operation Destroy David
Mhm.
Johnston.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They
Called it.
don't care. They don't care. They will
Called
destroy
it.
you. They don't care. They
I think I
will.
specifically said that if he did recommend a public inquiry, that I wouldn't have been surprised because of all
Mhm.
that pressure, but that if he didn't and actually did the right thing and didn't, that it was going to be Operation Destroy David Johnston
Which
or
is,
Annihilate.
that's what it's been.
Yep. These people are nothing if not predictable.
This is very true.
Nothing if not predictable. Um, but yes, there became just too many things that you can, put a pin in and raise up as an issue. And, when you can go on a talk show and or a political show and you can say, yeah, what about this thing? And then, okay, well, then what about this thing? Oh, okay, then what about this thing? And then there's little kernels of truth here and there. It's impossible. Right. It becomes that situation where the party that's trying to get things solved is just being constantly put on the back foot and on the defensive. And again, as they keep on saying, if you're explaining, you're losing. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So he pulled the trap door on himself. Now we're in a situation, however, where um, Pierre Poliev seems to have taken a bit of a lesson, because he now says that he is open to working with other people on finding that unicorn that he claims exists, and we'll get started on preparing a list of people.
Oh, that's going to be
Now,
cute.
now I predict either or and it could be both these things or one of them. Um, that anybody else is going to suggest is probably going to be acceptable to him,
Mhm.
meaning that you know you need to take who I suggest, or I'm going to burn the whole place down.
Well, watch him suggest somebody like Eva Chipyuk or something like that.
And that's what I'm thinking, right? The person he's going to suggest is going to be so completely unacceptable.
Yeah. Completely. Yeah.
all the things that they've been saying about David Johnson about being partisan, this one is the walls are going to be dripping with it.
Oh yeah,
with whomever they see.
and don't you dare accuse me of that which I am guilty. Right.
Right. Absolutely. And his other option was to not propose anyone. Right. I said, well, we're going to do this. Yeah, I'll show up. I'll see what's going on. I'm not going to really propose anyone. And then just reject. Nope, not good enough. Not good enough. Not good enough. So it seems, at least for form, he's saying that he is going to propose someone. So right now he's having a tiny bit of a, oh no, I won't refuse to help 100% of the time, all the time. Now, let's see how he helps.
Well, the question that Linda's
let me help.
posed.
Oops, sorry.
The question that Linda's posed that I've got on screen right now: why on earth would anyone agree to it after seeing what Johnston went through?
Well,
and I completely in lockstep with you on that one. Who in their right mind?
Yes, exactly. Why would anyone agree with it unless they're in the bag?
Yeah, that's right.
So the Conservatives have prepared the terrain for anybody decent not to want to take the job. Well, we have someone.
Former Prime Minister Stephen Harper would.
We have someone we believe is independent.
Yeah, we believe is independent.
So just watch. Just watch. He says he's going to help. Watch to see what kind of help. I have a feeling it won't be all that helpful. It could surprise us. But if past behavior is the best indicator of future behavior, I have a feeling that the word help has a different definition for him than it does for us. All right. Yeah. Who says Canadian politics is boring? Shit. Oh, man. Okay, so while the Conservatives, now that they have a carcass to feast off of, are batting their eyelashes and going, who, us? Why, we'd never. In Europe, Ukraine has officially started its offensive. And President Zelensky has confirmed this throughout the last few weeks. A lot of people have been saying, "Oh, yeah, the offensive has started now," and President Zelensky's going, "No, it hasn't started yet." But now it does seem that it has started. It was precipitated by the destruction of a dam in the Kherson area, which flooded an area that was pretty large. 700,000 people needed to be evacuated, and it was the reservoir of water that was also used to keep the Zaporizhia nuclear plant cool, which we are told is not a problem for the moment, and there are contingency plans, but it could be an issue eventually. This was also preceded by what seemed to be some incursions into Russian territory in Belgorod, often, which is pretty close to the border and where there have been a couple of things before. There's been some activity where, even there have been drones around the Kremlin a couple of times, sort of flying, and it is suspected that Ukraine has managed to find some people within Russia who are willing to stage certain operations. Russians within Russia, probably, who are not quite happy with the government, who are willing to stage certain operations. So there are little things happening a little here and there that are a little inconvenient for Putin. And in Belarus, the construction of the facilities that will host the nuclear weapons that Putin plans to deploy there are about to be finished, and Putin says basically the day after they're finished, he's going to start deploying some weapons there.
Great.
Which is obviously making some people nervous, because obviously it creates another front on the Belarusian border.
Not good.
Yeah, not good. It seems that the offensive has retaken. I've heard different reports, like 4 districts or 2 villages. I heard it's 4 districts and 2 villages. I'm not quite up, but they've been they've reclaimed a little bit of land, and they're trying to see what to do in the area that got flooded because the water now has started to recede. Um, Obviously, people need potable drinking water. You got 700,000 people that
Mm-hmm.
were displaced. But I'm it's about to get messy. It also seems that Iran may be helping Russia build a factory somewhere in Russia for the production of drones, which is not helpful. Not helpful at all. So yes, we're probably going to be hearing a lot more of that pretty soon, because that's going to start picking up now that the counteroffensive is on. Back home in Canada with wildfires, we've had shifting winds and cooling temperatures on Saturday, which helped prevent a wildfire from spreading to Tumbler Ridge in northeastern British Columbia. About over 2,000 residents were evacuated last Thursday, and the fire is burning about 23,000 hectares over there. There's also a fire on Vancouver Island, that on Saturday at least had shut down Highway 4 that connects Port Alberni to Tofino and Ucluelet with the rest of the island. Port Alberni, Tofino, and Ucluelet with the rest of the island. I'm not sure, I haven't heard whether or not that's been reopened yet or still closed, but please make sure that you're checking your routes in and out in case of you need to evacuate, and to see which ones, which highways are open for you. In Quebec, fires continue to burn in the northeast of the province. They are expecting a colder weather and some rain this week, but there are still about 140 fires burning there. Still over 13,000 evacuees as of yesterday, but it seems about 7,000 in the Chibougamau area will be able to return today. In Alberta, there's a new wildfire near the town of Edson, which has forced people into an evacuation for the second time in 2 months. So that it must not be easy.
No.
Yesterday, or on Saturday, it was said that there were 70 fires burning with 25 out of control. That has now increased to 78 fires, with about a third of them out of control, with temperatures expected to be rising today, hitting 29 in certain areas, which is not going to be helpful.
No.
And in central Nova Scotia, a woman has been fined up to $29,000 for having an unsupervised outdoor open fire during the entire provincial ban on fires.
We would refer to that person as a cund stunt. A cund stunt.
Lady. The largest wildfire in the province's history is no longer spreading, but is still raging, about 234 square kilometers near Barrington Lake. But most people who have fled the fires near Halifax and Shelburne County have been able to return home.
Well, that's good.
So that's what we got on the wildfire situation for you kids. And I don't even think we're like 1/3 through the season yet.
No. We're at the very beginning of it.
And if we
Doesn't
haven't
bode well.
crossed the 3 million hectares burned, last number I heard was 2.2 and 3/4. So I'm sure I was going to say burned through that. Ooh, burned past that.
Not
Choice of
not
words.
not the pun you were
No,
looking
not
for.
and blown past that's not going to help either, because the wind's not great.
Nope.
Sailed?
Surpassed it. Surpassed it.
Man. I just there's so
Again, and here, like from Ree, this statement here. You should see some people. They are furious about not being able to have fires or go in the woods. Like, these are the same selfish assholes that occupied my neighborhood for 3 weeks. That thinking process. Well, what about me? Me. What about me? I should be able to go into the woods. Where's my freedom? You, your freedom to burn down a province. Wait, what? I,
I know. It's just, oh man.
you want to just go out and smack people.
Really, right?
Just
Right?
grab them by the throat and smack them several times until they stop babbling with this incoherent bullshit and go, "Wait, no, you're still spewing bullshit." And just keep this is what you want to do. Don't do it. I recognize the emotion though. Don't act upon that emotion, but you are allowed to feel it. And feel it you should, because god damn people. What the
Seriously. What the? I'm right with you. What the? Oh man. Man. I tell you.
Oh, Mateo, your Nutella mustache inspired me.
Yes, that's true. We saw your Nutella mustache, and that was it. Yep. So there you go. How you doing, Mateo? Hope you're having a good day.
Have a great Monday, brother.
What a great kid. I like him.
I like spray them with a fire hose on full power. You know, again, I feel that same emotion. You don't do it. You don't do it, but I feel that same emotion.
I hear you. Ugh. Okay. Some pride-related news that you may find interesting. I think, was it last year already? Yeah, last year we had that interview with Murray Billett because this
Yes.
year is the 25th anniversary, was in April, of the Delvin Vrind decision that made it such that discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation has been made illegal. Well, also 20 years ago, on June 10th, just a few days, was the first same-sex marriage in Canada. There was once upon a time when we talked about the two Michaels. The two
Yes.
Michaels in question were Michael Leshner and Mike Stark, who brought the case to the Supreme Court. No, to the
They've been
Ontario
married
Court of
for-
Appeal. Sorry,
Right. 20 years now this year?
20 years 20 years 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Ontario Court of Appeal ruled in favor of same-sex marriage, and they were wed a few hours later in front of cameras and the media. And for the
Well,
first
and
time,
the amount of people that said, this is just a PR stunt. It'll never last.
Yeah.
20 years later, bitch.
Yep. And 20 years ago, on the 10th, the words, "I declare thee to be lawfully married spouses,"
Yes.
was said for the first time in Ontario. The photo of their first kiss, of course, made international headlines. Now, before that, there was two ladies, Paula Barrero and Bianca Mariles, who, using the process of marriage bans, got a license to wed, because Sherry DeNovo officiated that wedding. Marriage bans were things that you filed in and that you post them on the church door or something like that. And you do that like every week for 3 weeks or something like that. And if nobody objects, then you get your license. Well, you don't have to specify gender on a marriage band. And I guess people thought that Paula could have been the man's name. So the license was issued, and the government, even though they said that they had made a mistake, did not revoke the license once it was issued.
That would have been very bad PR.
Yes. Yes. So exactly. There you go. Okay, Toronto Dan. One of the women was a city worker at shelters. There you go. So, and then when about 7 provinces had done that, 7 Court of Appeals in provinces had ruled in favor of same-sex marriage, then it kind of passed in the House of Commons with a vote of 158 to 133, making Canada the 4th nation in the world to legalize it. We were going to be the 3rd, but Spain sort of came out of nowhere and just slid in and said, "Yep, we're doing it." And it was like, "Oh, really?" Because nobody had even heard that you were considering it. It just happened. But we were the the biggest nation in terms of economic power to have done it at that time. 60 years ago, also, a man named Everett Clifford became the last man kept in jail for being gay. He was suspected of having started a fire when he was 39 in Saskatchewan, and though he was cleared of arson because he told the officers he was gay, they kept him locked up for 6 years. Clifford appealed the decision to the Supreme Court, but it was dismissed. And the public outcry is that which led Prime Minister Elliott Trudeau to introduce the bill that included a call to decriminalize private consensual homosexual acts between consenting adults 21 years of age or older. And that's when, in 1967, he said there's no place for the state in the bedrooms of a nation. That's what prompted that quote. A man who had been suspected of arson, who did not commit that crime, being kept in jail for 6 years because while talking to the police and clearing his name of that crime, mentioned that he was gay. I didn't know that before today.
Neither did I.
I didn't know that that's what prompted the Prime Minister of the day to say that quote. It was because a man was kept in jail for 6 years simply for having admitted who he was.
That's not that long ago. It was in my lifetime. This happened in my lifetime.
So that bill,
he was imprisoned when I was alive, is what I'm getting at. Like this,
That bill became law in 1969. Clifford still remained in jail until July 1971.
So I would have been 3 when he was released.
So even though the law passed,
they kept him.
Because that was processing time.
Let him think about it a little longer. Maybe he won't be gay when we let him out. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Clifford died at the age of 69 in 1996, and in 2016, the current Prime Minister granted him a full pardon.
Well, that's good. Still astonishing to me, like, that was the law of the land. Like, how bass-ackwards were we?
In 1971, there was still a man in jail in Canada simply for having admitted to the police in the context of an entire other investigation. It wasn't an investigation about moral turpitude or right? Or propositioning someone. It was about an arson case. Something totally unrelated. And they just took him off the street and locked him up. And in 1971, there was still someone in jail simply for having admitted they were gay.
We've come a long way. We have a long way to go. There's a lot of work left to be done. A lot of work. We have come a long way. I mean, it's unimaginable today that somebody could be imprisoned for being gay. It's unimaginable today. Well, okay, it was unimaginable 5 years ago. Sadly, it's not unimaginable today because we see how they are protesting at schools because schools are celebrating Pride. And they're like, stop grooming children. They're not grooming anyone. They're telling you that we live in a nation where you're allowed to love whom you choose. While they love children, settle the fuck down. Nobody will ever allow that. No one ever. It's never going to happen. We're in such a bizarre timeline. I don't know what to think some days, and this is one of those days. We've come so far, but somebody's trying to backpedal us. There's a group of people who want to backpedal us into a time that never really was to begin with. It never really was. And you can read all about it in this book from Marcy McDonald called The Armageddon Factor. And it's all about the rise of Christian nationalism in Canada. And they're doing it under the guise of Christianity. These people are not Christian at all. Not in the least bit. They are the antithesis. They are the Antichrist. Didn't Jesus say, love everyone? What about Brian? Yeah, Brian's an asshole, including Brian. Yeah, see, love me too. Shut up, Brian. You're not helping your cause here. We are in a bizarre timeline, and there are days where I do one of these, the exasperated, head in hands, all the face palms, not knowing what to think. And those are the days where my mental health takes a beating. And, I've heard somebody say, but yeah, how does it affect you? Because people I know and love and care for are harmed by this. Will I ever personally be harmed by any of these measures? No. Not personally harmed by them because I'm a cis het white male. They think I'm a part of them. I'm not. I stand apart from them. Anybody who would use Christ in that manner is as far from a Christian as they could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And they always tend to quote Leviticus or something to that effect. So the Bible, the Old Testament. They use the Old Testament constantly. But that's not Christianity. Christianity is the New Testament. I went to Catholic school. We didn't read the Old Testament. We only read the New Testament. Because the New Testament is the foundation of Christianity. So why are you quoting a book? Oh, I see, because that quotation suits your narrative. What was it? I'm going to paraphrase a line here from a movie and a book for that matter. They're cafeteria Catholics, cafeteria Christians, picking and choosing what they want on their plate. Well, if you're truly a Christian, that's not how it works, you see.
No. You got to take it all.
It's why I'm, and my mom gets upset, but I say I can't stand religion. I'm no fan. I will defend your right to practice your religion in this country. You have that right to do it. I will defend that right for you to do so. But when the practice of your religion impugns and impinges and subjugates others, no, you don't get to do that. This is my country, not your church. This is our country, not our church. We have the right to practice and worship whomever we choose. And I'll give you that right, and I'll respect that right. But when you try and take my rights away because I'm not following what you want me to do, we have a problem. And I will not defend you. I will protest against you because you are trying to rob others of their rights that you have had the privilege of having by living in this country.
Indeed. And, when we're talking about it, we have to remember we're not alone. There's a whole world out there, right? In Uganda, they passed that anti-gay legislation. Prime Minister signed it. The president or prime minister signed it. It entrenches the criminalization of same-sex conduct. It also creates new offenses that will curtail any activism on lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender issues and eradicate LGBT people from any form of social engagement in Uganda. It confirms an already existing punishment of life imprisonment for same-sex conduct while also increasing to 10 years the prison sentence for an attempt at same-sex conduct. It's
And this is brought about by a right-wing evangelical Christian, in air quotes, from the United States. I forget the gentleman's name, but I've seen documentaries about him and how he's preaching. Is it Bill Gothard? No, I can't remember who it is. Bill Gothard's the guy who preaches the prosperity doctrine, which means it's okay for churches and pastors and ministers to be fabulously wealthy because Jesus wanted it that way. No, he fucking didn't. No, he did not. He flipped over tables in the synagogue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But here's the worst part of that law. The new law prescribes that people convicted of aggravated homosexuality may now be punished with a death sentence. Although same-sex relationships were already illegal in the country, the new law, which passed with the support of 341 out of 389 members of parliament, includes harsher punishments for promoting homosexuality and engaging in same-sex relations, as mentioned. So you've got that going on. And on the other side of the ledger, in Utah, a very, very clever parent who is upset by book bans got the Bible pulled from school shelves.
Sorry, I'm posting a couple of interesting comments here.
You'll no doubt find that the Bible under Utah code, and then they have I don't know how to read this, 76 10 12 27, has no serious values for minors because it's pornographic by our new definition, the parent wrote. So this is an NBC News article. A Utah school district took the Bible off some bookshelves, officials said Friday, following a complaint from a parent upset by book bans who was hoping to expose the bad faith process. The Davis School District, the state's second biggest public system with nearly 74,000 pre-K to 12th grade students, has largely removed the book from circulation but kept it in high school libraries. The parent, in a copy of the complaint obtained by NBC News that rejects their identity, said their effort to boot the Bible was in protest of a 2022 Utah law that made it easier to remove, quote, pornographic or indecent, end quote, content from schools.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Bible's full of that.
Yes. I think the Utah legislature and Utah parents were united for making this I thank the Utah legislature and Utah parents united for making this bad faith process so much easier and way more efficient, the parent said in the complaint. Now we can we can all ban books, and you don't even need to read them or be accurate about it. Heck, you don't even need to see the book.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
An 8-page typed list of examples of objectionable material from the Bible, quoting the exact scriptures, was included in the complaint. Quote, incest, onanism, bestiality, prostitution, genital mutilation, fellatio, dildos, rape, and even infanticide, the parent wrote. You'll no doubt find that the Bible under Utah code, whatever, has no serious value for minors because it's pornographic by our new definition. A district review committee acted on the complaint and examined the King James version of the Bible, which a couple of people in the chat have already mentioned, said especially the King James version, with an eye towards Utah codes covering public obscenity, pornography, and other inappropriate material. I love this because this is a case of be careful what you wish for, because the streets go two ways. Which brings us back to David Johnston. I have a feeling, because the Prime Minister has sent people out to say, well, they are now open to considering public inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm just having this, oh yeah? Y'all want a public inquiry? Okay, you're going to get one.
Let's look at any foreign interference by every nation. Not just China. Oh, no, we're looking for Beijing's interference. No, that would be China. Beijing is a city in China. We're looking for interference from any foreign entity. Like, I don't know, Russia? Oh, but Skippy doesn't want that.
Mm-mm.
Why is it he doesn't want that? I mean, I'm just asking a question.
Well, see,
why doesn't he want to look into that?
Because he didn't want to look at that, and they didn't really until Jenny Byrne went to testify at that committee. And she got really pressed, and then she said, well, then fine, let's do it all then.
Yeah, yes. Let's do it all.
So, yeah, thinking that, of course, that there's no way it would happen. Well, we having election reform committee all over again. The prime minister is giving up his right to be the sole person nominating something or making a decision and giving it to a committee of the opposition. Now, while
There you go. You deal with
you
it.
deal with it, it worked so well for electoral reform, didn't it? So
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying let's look at this committee, because you've got Blanchette and you've got Pierre Poilievre on one side, but you have Mr. Singh who's trying to walk that line. I would be
Yeah.
very surprised if this is a joint committee that anybody that Mr. Poilievre would find acceptable would also be acceptable to Singh and Madame May.
hmm
Madame
It's
May
going to be just.
particularly does not like Skippy.
Oh, no. She finds him a
Particularly
reviling individual.
is not inclined to be helpful to him.
He's dug himself a hole here that he's not going to be able to get out of.
I'm starting.
We want an inquiry. Okay, we're going to inquire everything. We're going to have a public inquiry on all election interference since the dawn of time by every nation. Well, hold on now. We're just looking at Beijing in the last 3 years. No,
Well,
no,
okay,
no.
then not since the dawn of time. Let's make it the last 30 years then, since our intelligence
Okay.
officials have been saying they've been telling us for about 3 decades.
Okay, let's look back 30 years then. How about, okay, this is a good comment, Linda. You know who I'm thinking would be even better? Would they be finder suitable? Is former justice, former prime minister. You know who I'm thinking of, sir?
Keep going.
Oh, pose nude once.
Kim Campbell.
You got it, Pontiac.
Never even.
Right? Wouldn't she be a great candidate?
Oh, yes.
Right? Because who dislikes Kim Campbell? She's a progressive conservative to begin with. She can't stand Skippy or his minions.
That's an inspired choice.
But wouldn't she be acceptable to them?
She wouldn't. They'd have to find a way to
No.
make her unacceptable.
Right. So how are you going to you're going to burn your own down now, right? You're going to cut off your nose to spite your face. I am recommending Kim Campbell to chair the public inquiry.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
You know how good that would be? Because look, I don't think there's anybody who could accuse her of being impartial or not non-impartial. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
nobody would accuse her of taking a side. She was a lawyer and a judge. She knows how to do her job,
But would she?
and she'd do it damn well.
Would she though? She checked out, man.
Oh, I'm sure she'd be like, she'd nope right the hell out of there because she doesn't need that. She doesn't need that shit.
Yeah.
And you're right, Linda, about this. Mr. MGTOW won't want a woman. He'd have to create a reason. She is a person without reproach, especially from that party. How would the party figure out a way to burn her to the ground?
And Minister of Justice, and oh my word,
right?
That is so
Ms.
inspired.
Kim Campbell would be kick-ass in that position.
She would.
And they'd have to find a way to burn her to the ground. They'd have to come up with something, and you know they can't. So they will assault her character. And she met Justin Trudeau once, so I guess they're best friends now. They have sleepovers on the weekend or something. Like, they would create something to burn her to the ground because this is who they are. They are not Canadians. They are not patriots. They worship two things, power and money.
Mm-hmm.
They are conservatives first, Canadians only when it's convenient, and they will burn this country to the ground to get what they want.
But I'm starting to wonder now, was this all a big rope-a-dope?
Could be.
I mean, given that they are so predictable, let's name David Johnston. They'll have no problem with him. And if they do, in our back pocket we have. It just, that would be so lovely that they just let him in, chin up, ass out on David Johnston's. Okay, now you get your public inquiry and here's who we put in. So, oh, Justin.
Strange comment, Barbara.
Please.
I don't know where you're coming up with that comment, but
Yeah.
here's the thing, Barbara. Karima's not on the show right now, so I don't know where you're coming up with that. She's not part of this show. And your comment about Crier Media never said anything that you accused us of. And I know that it's been defended in the chat. I just wanted to address this quickly. And I'm not picking on you, Barbara. I'm not. Thank you for watching. We appreciate that you're watching. But I don't know why you're bringing this up. We are not discussing it. So
We haven't mentioned
I
her
don't know
at
where
all.
that's coming from. No. Karima is a friend of ours.
Yeah.
She's been on this show in the past, but we're not talking about Karima right
I don't
now. We're talking
mentioned
about
her name in the last like 30 shows.
No, we haven't, because we haven't had her on in a while. We haven't had a reason to interact with her.
Yeah. Or mention any news.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know why you're coming up with that. I know Karima. She's a wonderful person. You're allowed to have your own opinion of her. That's fine. You don't know her. We do. So I will defend Karima because I think all she does is report on what she sees. And that's all we're going to say about that. Let's go back to Miss Kim Campbell.
Yes.
I think who would be a brilliant person to chair the inquiry. And you'd know damn well they'd have their minions working on a way to cut her down because Skippy having to listen to a woman. He only listens to his wife because she has his testicles in her pocket or purse. I don't know if she carries a purse. That was terrible of me. I got sexist there. She carries his testicles. Where and how, I don't know. Maybe they're earrings. Or maybe they're her truck nuts. Who knows?
They are terrible.
I'm sorry. I want to pivot here for a minute to New Brunswick, because this still is in the realm of what we've been discussing today. I saw a very long tweet from a gentleman in New Brunswick at Sean Rouse, SHAWNROUSC. He's on Twitter. You can find him. And this is what he has to say right now. And I'm going to read this verbatim because I think it's inspired what he wrote. And here it is. I've seen a lot of things I hope to never see in New Brunswick politics since May 5th. But what I saw yesterday from Premier Blaine Higgs is the most disgraceful thing I've ever seen in politics in my life. The Premier of my home province has accused the Prime Minister of Canada and the New Brunswick opposition leader of supporting the gender transitioning of preschool children. And for what reason? He says it would be true because they support a policy that his own government implemented back in August 2020. 33 months ago. As being an ally on Twitter has recently taught me, it's a common refrain on social media from the fringe right wing to label people who support LGBTQ plus kids and their rights as groomers. Most people know groomers, in quotation marks, are criminals who build a relationship, trust, and emotional connection with a child or young persons so they can manipulate, exploit, and abuse them. In other words, groomers are child predators. We all know what dog whistle Premier Higgs is blowing below, and I'll read that as well in a moment. He is suggesting that the Prime Minister and opposition leader are child predators for supporting the rights of trans and non-binary kids in crisis at school.
Yep.
For supporting a version of Policy 713 that his own government implemented 33 months ago. This is a charge that is extremely inflammatory and shows the Premier's astonishing lack of judgment and solemnity for these sensitive, complex issues. I think it's fair to say that everyone would be seriously troubled by the notion of a child in kindergarten being encouraged to review their gender identity at such a susceptible age. I certainly am. Who wouldn't be? Anyone who encouraged this behavior towards a young child would be incredibly suspect, to say the least. Of course, the notion of a 4-year transitioning is nonsense. Policy 713 doesn't cover it explicitly because it doesn't happen. If it did happen, it would be an extremely rare case and reviewed with the utmost seriousness and care. But it doesn't. It never has, and it probably never will. Premier Higgs has displayed a staggering lack of boundaries and decorum with his charge below in yesterday's statement. It shows the depth of his obsession with gender LGBTQ plus politics, as well as his willingness to incite the very worst charges possible against his political opponents. Premier Higgs needs to immediately apologize to the Prime Minister and opposition leader for this accusation implied below, and then completely withdraw it. Also, he needs to be sanctioned by his caucus in the legislature for the appalling lack of circumspection and seriousness constituted in the charge below. Premier Higgs needs to be called to account immediately for his atrocious lack of judgment. He has twisted a policy his government implemented previously into the worst possible implications about the Prime Minister and opposition leader. I trust the legislature members and caucus will act with all due haste to condemn Premier Higgs' behavior in regards to this statement below. And here is his statement. Susan Holt and Justin Trudeau don't believe parents need to be involved in such critical discussions as gender identity, even in children as young as 4. In New Brunswick, we'll have a safe learning environment and better mental health supports, while still respecting the parent's role. Once again, Justin Trudeau shows he does not support the role of parents in guiding their children's future. Susan Holt and Justin Trudeau do not believe that parents need to be involved in such critical discussions as gender identity, even in elementary age children as young as 4 years old. With the changes we've made, Policy 713 achieves this balance. We will have safe learning environments with better mental health supports while still respecting the role of the parent. We believe parents must engage and clearly indicate their support for the role they play in guiding children in these vulnerable stages of their life. We are listening.
Yep. Yep.
It's inflammatory. He's talking about something that has never happened to begin with.
Well, now we know why he included that complaint about the litter boxes. Clearly, he's not being honest.
New Brunswick's Anglophone school system, 41 of 48 school psychologist positions are vacant. There's some bad stuff happening in New Brunswick right now. And I don't care for it, not one bit.
No, neither do I. Mr. Grizzly, I think we might have to take some action, unfortunately.
Oh, yes?
Yes. The person who we said was welcome is taking advantage of our hospitality to pee on the carpets and wipe themselves with the drapes. They're using some racist hashtags.
Oh, is she now? Yeah. Well, Barbara, we don't allow for that here. You're going to have to go bye-bye now.
Yep.
Because we're not tolerating hate.
We welcomed you into our home, but you can't pee on the carpets and poop all over the place and use the drapes to wipe yourself. Sorry.
You got to go.
All right.
We're not allowing that.
No. All right. Nope. There's just no room for that. Sorry.
No, we're not having that.
Yeah. No. No, they were using a hashtag with regard to Karima, which is not saying that she's leading a non-governmental organization. Let's just say that.
We're not having that. No.
We're not having it. All right.
You can spew your hatred elsewhere. We're not having it here.
Yeah, we're not having it here. I wanted to finish with something a little funnier with regard, and it has to do with Trump's indictment. Because, okay, there's a lot going on, and I'm wondering if maybe we should either do a special or have Friday have Jake come on, maybe see if we can get Keith also as well. I don't know. At the same time. But I almost want to do this with Jake because this is so good. This is so good. Okay. First of all, you need to read the indictment. Okay, if you haven't read it full, it reads like a novel, and it's they say 49 pages, but it's double spaced with quotes, and there's a couple of pictures in there. So I mean, it's not that long. It'll take maybe about an hour. It's worth it. And if you don't want to read it, there's a podcast called Prosecuting Donald Trump where Ali Velshi from NBC just reads it to you if you'd like
Mm.
to have an audiobook.
I was
But
looking at it on Saturday, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
that's why I want to do so. Now, there's an account called Fuller Initiative at Metro Adlib on Twitter that posted something that's absolutely fantastic. And I wrote to this person because I was hoping that they would write back, because I would have loved for them to read it in their own voice.
Mm.
Now, I desperately wanted to read this in my own voice, in my voice, because this is going to be so much fun to read. But I was really hoping this person would read it because I just could imagine that no matter how I say it, it would be so much better coming from the person who wrote it. But here we go. There's going to be some giggles. I'll just let you know that.
Okay.
I literally stopped working on my memo so I could read this indictment. I'm on page 24, and Jesus Lapito Nyong'o Christ.
That's
How
the one.
this man.
That's the one
See
I
where
was
we're going?
reading. Yeah, I was reading that one, and that's why I sent it to you, because I knew you'd love it.
Yes. How this man still has the capacity to shock me after everything that's happened, I'll never know. But I am sitting here stunned. I'll be honest, because I do lean into naivete sometimes, it's difficult for me to assume the worst from people, even when they have done all of the worst things. So this whole time I've been thinking, wonder why he didn't give back those docs. He's probably lost them. And also, this dingus just grabbed shit from the White House because he's too stupid to know he couldn't. He probably doesn't even realize what he has. Nope. Nope. This was deliberate and concerted effort to remove the most sensitive documents the country has and keep them, and then show them to people at his leisure while acknowledging that while he was neither supposed to have them or show them, he haphazardly stored the docs any damned where, including in a goddamned bathroom shower. They were chucked to some random room in Mar-a-Lago, and occasionally the boxes, because there were so many, would tumble down. And top secret documents having to do with defense plans, military campaigns, nukes, you name it. Documents clearly marked top secret and confidential, and two other designations I'd never even heard of before today, but which apparently means super duper duper double pinky swearsies realsies secret, would just spill out on the GD floor and lie there, exposed for all to see, just naked and bearing all to the world like a national security full Monty. And as if that weren't enough, the archives asked this MF 11 times to give all this stuff back, and 45 would be all, I gave you everything I got. Damn, shit, there's nothing here. Then he would have had his aides move the boxes, and he would travel with the boxes. And some member of his family, Ivanka or Melania or Lara, also knew he had the boxes, but he would travel with them because that was presumably the only way to make sure he kept them. But what's wilder still is that this MF had lawyers who were like, fam, for serious, you need to turn in like anything you have that is a file and belongs to the US government, dead ass. And 45 was all to the lawyers, to these officers of the court. Couldn't y'all just tell them there's like nothing here, and wouldn't it be better if we just kind of like burned all this shit, if it were here, hypothetically? And one lawyer was all, then he was like, you got the subpoena on May 11th. I'm coming through on the 1st of the month to run through that whole shit, and I'm going to make sure nothing that belongs to these United Ass States is in that garish monstrosity you pretend is a house. So 45 has his body man and his aides move the boxes again. Like just scores of boxes. He has them move a gazillion boxes again to hide them from his lawyers. And then the night before the day his lawyer is supposed to come through, he called them and was like, hey, dog, you still coming tomorrow? I was sitting here talking to all the homies and like, we don't know why you're coming. Why are you coming? And the lawyer was like, presumably deep sigh here, I already told you. I'm coming through. I'm coming through to move through the house and make sure I can tell them we complied with the subpoena. I'm going to make sure you don't have anything you're not supposed to. Okay? And 45 is like, oh, right. Cool, 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 cool. Come on through then. I'll see you tomorrow. Then he hung up and had his body man move more boxes. I, I have to keep reading, but what I really need you to know is that whoever drafted this is giving us next level caliber Dorian Corey shade, because sprinkled throughout are experts from quotes that Donald Trump gave the press during campaigns in his presidency, boasting about how good he'd be at keeping the country's secrets safe, how we needed a return to discretion, and how people who violated national security laws and breached the protections afforded our most sensitive documents needed to be punished with the full might of the law. For real. For
Well,
real.
well, well, well.
The lawyer went to Mar-a-Lago, and 45 and his aides were just sitting there like, oh yeah, this guy wants to make sure we've turned in all the stuff and somebody take him back to the room and make sure he's comfortable. So the lawyer goes around, looks around, and finds 38 things that were top secret. And honest to God, I think they left that stuff there deliberately so it wouldn't look like they cleaned the house. So yeah, let's take these documents. Let's take these 38. I don't really need these ones anymore. Let's leave them there. Then let's let them think. Let's let them think they found everything. I
Yeah,
could see
that's
it.
it. That's everything. You got it. You got it all.
I
Oh, you
could,
got it all.
because repeatedly, because yeah, you got it all this time, and said, no, wait, I don't think we got it all. Can you please send us? And then he goes and picks up more stuff that he wants to keep, and then sends something, and then he goes and picks up more stuff.
Oh, that's everything. Yeah, no, that's everything right there.
So the lawyer packages up what's left, goes back out, and 45 has the goddamn audacity to be like, "What's up? How we looking?" Hand to God, this man says, "Is it good? Is it bad?" As though he hadn't directed everyone to clean house. That's damn sociopathic.
Oh yeah.
Then that's the arsonist that goes and enjoys the fire after. Like when the firemen are trying to put it out and just sits there and watches. That's this guy here. Then, when the lawyer shrugs and indicates that there's still some Chester Copperpot level shit in the box he's carrying, 45 mimes, taking out the secret stuff and disposing of it. Mimes. With his wee hands. The lawyer apparently ignores it and is like, okay, I'm going to be in the last lawyer and I'm going to tell her that I went all the way through everything you said you had. And then I'm going to tell her that what I'm holding right now is the last of anything you have and aren't supposed to. So if there's anything else in this house, tell me now, because she's coming with an official ass paper that I am tendering to the feds, and we don't lie to the feds. So this is it, Donald.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything's there. It's all there.
And 45 is like, on my mama. So the lawyer brings the other lawyer in and is like, this is it. This is everything. So you can safely put your good name and your good bar ID number on this super official sworn statement because 45 said this is it and we've complied. Let me just stop for a moment right here and tell you that I would literally die first. I would literally die before I relied on that man's representations. I'd lie down in the center of my living room floor, cover myself up in a blanket, roll from wall to wall, back and forth until I was Dexter, secure in the bedding, and then will my body to cease breathing before I'd put my name on some shit off the strength of Donald Gargamel John Trump's word. So the lawyers turned that weak ass certification in and told the National Archives and Records Administration, the entity charged with the task of maintaining our collective memory as a nation, that's all we got. As if this federal agency, whose chief responsibility is literally to keep things, wouldn't know this veritable mountain of documents was missing. So the feds got that certification back and looked at that shit like, eh? Then they subpoenaed video surveillance from Mar-a-Lago. Because, of course. And what do they see? The body man and the aides not only moving boxes, but moving boxes onto a plane. And then that plane was taken off with Trump in tow, flying away for the summer. Because he wanted the boxes with him at his vacation house. So the DOJ sent them boys in, and the windbreakers searched that stucco Mediterranean style abomination from top to bottom and found 100 plus more docks, protected docks. Your boy is a clown. There's a breakdown of the stuff they found. My word. Every time I see the words, quote, concerning military capabilities of the United States and, quote, concerning nuclear weaponry of the United States, I just, wow, 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 wow. And this is the body ban. If the past is indeed prologue, we draw from my favorite episode in American history ever, brought to us courtesy of Messrs. Mitchell, Hadelman, Ehrlichman, Colson, Hunt, and Liddy. He goes directly to jail, and 45, well, doesn't. And there's a picture of a Walt Nada, who was the other guy in the indictment, the body man, who moved some stuff. I generally hope that if over the course of these Twitter years you have taken but one thing from everything I'm ever told you, it's to not lie to the feds. Do not lie to the feds. Just decline the interview and get indicted on whatever they've got. You can beg for grace later. There are literally mechanisms in place for people who come clean and are helpful to them down the line. Just decline the interview, but do not lie.
Unbelievable.
And
It's beyond ridiculous.
it is beyond ridiculous. And when we're like talking about stuff, Mr. Grizzly, like we are not kidding. It is a hot mess.
I have the full indictment. I posted a link to it in the chat if anybody wants to click on it. I'll post it again just so you have a most recent. This is the PDF of the entire thing, and it reads like some bizarre fiction piece that somebody was writing, but it's not fiction. It's real. It happened.
And here's the thing, right? They say like he had like 30 documents. So I'm thinking 30 pages, right? Wait until you see what 30 documents. 300 documents. What 300 documents looks like. And when we say that this guy is messy and sloppy, and okay, we're not kidding.
Yeah.
In the ballroom at Mar-a-Lago, just on the stage, for months, there have been interviews with guests at Mar-a-Lago. Go, oh yeah, you can just walk anywhere. I do. I go to the ballroom all the time. Walk right through. Nuclear stuff.
Garish.
In the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so when we say 300 documents, it's not like 300 two-page documents here.
No.
That's a lot of damn box. That's the box that just fell?
Yeah.
Apparently, the person who saw that took that picture and sent it to another employee of Trump. So now you've got and some of these documents, well, probably not this version like this, but in another one like this, one of the documents, if you zoomed in, actually had classified information that you could see.
Yeah. You can see they've blacked it out there.
Yeah. It's just
so bizarre.
There are also, and in the charges, what's really interesting is that there are 37 charges. There are 31 counts of withholding these documents. And because these ones here are national defense documents, their level of classification doesn't matter. The fact that they are national defense documents alone is enough. Then there are some counts of lying to the feds, making false statements, a couple of counts of obstruction, and then Walt Knob has a couple of counts of his own, which I'm guessing are probably there to try and flip him. But yeah, this is really, really, really bad. And on top of that, because they're limiting it just to national defense documents, and we asked him to give them back, and he didn't, and this is the way that you store them. All these Espionage Act ones, the withholding ones, you don't have to prove intent. Do you have them? Were you supposed to have them? Did we ask them back? Did you not give them back? Did you impede us in trying to get them back? Yes. Boom. And now they actually have tapes of him actually saying to two autobiographers, because I have this thing. It wasn't me that wanted to go into Iran. It was General Milley. I have this document. I wish I could show it to you, but I can't declassify it because I'm not president anymore. But if I could show you this. And then another one at Bedminster, his golf club, showing documents. So there's at least 2 cases of him showing documents, and he has not been charged with dissemination yet.
He's going to go to prison for this. This is a prisonable offense. There's no 2 ways around it. You cannot pardon this behavior.
Yep. Up to 10 years for the withholding of the documents. Those will all probably be concurrent for all of them, 31. Up to 20 years for the obstruction, and up to 5 for making the false statements.
He's going to die in prison.
And this is just a just press play prosecution. Press the tape, show these pictures. You're under arrest.
You're done. It's, I always thought the man was a narcissist and a complete raging asshole, which he is. And I always thought he was an idiot. I didn't realize how much of a giant goddamn idiot he is. He's a perfect example of a narcissist because he believes he's completely innocent. I've done nothing wrong. Yeah, you did. You did a lot wrong. And you're not going to get away with it this time. Because this indictment, you read it, and it's like, I couldn't come up with something like this and have it made into a movie because Hollywood, you're ridiculous. That's so unbelievable.
Yeah.
Truth is stranger than fiction in this case.
And you've got all these people saying, "Oh, if only he had returned the documents the first time, he wouldn't be charged." No, because he still would have waved them around people, and he still would have improperly stored them like that, and he still would have. All those things still would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the reason why he didn't give them back is he thought in for a penny, in for a pound, because he knew, again, the man's a one-man crime spree. Sheesh. Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed, sir. We do indeed.
All right. We do have a show. All right, kits, we hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show because we really did enjoy making it for you. Remember, sharing is caring, so please tell your friends about us because word of mouth is priceless. And, well, we love it when the word comes out of your mouths because democracy is something that you do. Please, if you can, donate to Cornerstone Housing for Women and help us reach our goal, or, well, I hope we've surpassed it and see if we can really, really beat it. But yes, just because he already is wearing the mustache doesn't mean that we will not take donations all week long while he was still sporting it. So please, please, please do, if you can, help. That would be wonderful. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated. We'd love to hear from you. Reach us on our Facebook page at True North Eager Beaver, Twitter page at True Eager, or by email at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. And you could subscribe to us via our pod page. That's podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters, and hyphen between each one of those words, and that little QR code that appeared at the bottom of the screen earlier, that would link us to our pod page if you scanned that. There it is again for you. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? We are back on. Yay! So that helps us out big time. We can't do this without you. Sorry, excuse me, I got something in my throat. Pardon me. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, if you're watching, please scan the QR code by Mr. Grizzly's head, and that will bring you to our coffee page, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, lowercase letters. And that's where you can make a donation to our hydration fund. It's getting hot. We're parched. A little thirsty. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourselves. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us, please?
You know, I try and come up with something on a daily basis to say at the end of the show, and some days I am, wanting for something, and today happens to be one of those days because everything I've read over the last few days is just I'm in a complete state of exasperation. I'm overwhelmed. I'm flummoxed. I'm fully whelmed. I don't know what to think anymore. We're in such a bizarre timeline. So I'll leave you with this. Take care of yourself. Take care of your friends and family. Tell those that you love and care for that you love and care for them. And that's all I got for you today, man. We're in a strange timeline.
Mm. Do you have a coming ASMR?
I will at 9:30 this evening. I will have an ASMR show for those of you who care to view. You want to check it out. I'll post a link to it here. Just give me a sec. As soon as I find it, there it is. I will copy the link and post it. This is a link to my YouTube channel, my personal YouTube channel for the 9:30 p.m. ASMR show. If you are so inclined, there you go. It's in the chat. You can click on that and join it this evening if you like.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And before we leave, we have a couple things to celebrate. Canadians did very well at the French Open. Bianca Andreescu made the finals in mixed doubles. Leila Annie Fernandez made the finals in women's doubles. Both of them came close to winning, but ultimately did not. But they were very great matches. Gabriela Dabrowski made the semifinals in mixed doubles and quarterfinals in doubles. So that's great. And Canadian golfer Nick Taylor became the first Canadian to win the Canadian Golf Tournament since 1954, because we were talking about it on our last show, Pat Fletcher. We didn't think by talking about it that would be enough, but there you go.
We willed it.
There was Yep. He had a bad start too. He had a round of 75 to start in his first round. He was down like this, but on the third day he had a round of 63, which was 9 under, which was ridiculous. So he was 11 under after 3 days, was in a tie at the end. They played 4 playoff holes. And if you haven't seen it,
putt of the year.
I'm not a big watcher of golf at all. So, I mean, but even I could appreciate that. It's like 72-foot putter.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
Boom. It was gorgeous. It had this nice swing around and came back. He read the terrain. Way to go.
Yeah.
Way to go.
When it looked like the odds were stacked against him on that one, he dropped a 72-footer.
Yeah. 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 On the first day, first round, he ended like with a double bogey. So, I mean, it didn't look like it was going to be his tournament at all. And he just
pulled it out of the fire.
Pulled it out of the fire. So way to go, Nick Taylor. That's a good thing. All right, Mr. Grizzly, let's roll some credits.
Let me get right on that there. I just got to find the little button and click away like this.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum. And the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
All right, kids. All right, cubbies, go out and have yourself an absolutely wonderful day.
See you soon. Bye.